Hello, and welcome to another episode of Climbing on the Bookshelf. It's been a month or two since I last published one, so here's one that I did recently with Sarah-Jane Dobner, author of A Feeling for Rock. She's such good fun to chat to, albeit with connection problems and moving around our houses. Please forgive the odd cutout or two, it wasn't a great evening for my internet connection. Anyway, we talk about a variety of things, including building works, painting and decorating. There's even some talk about her book, which won the Banff Mountain Literature Award. Sarah-Jane also reads from her book for me, which I'm eternally grateful. There's something wonderful about the author reading to you about a book that you really enjoyed. So here it is in all its kind of glitchiness, but it's kind of okay really. I really hope you enjoy this one, and if you would like to visit her site and check out her other fantastic work, then it's dobdobdob.co.uk. You can also buy the book from there. Hope you enjoy this one. Hello, Sarah-Jane.
Hello, Stuart.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good. Is everything, can you hear me okay? And
I can hear you really clearly, which is amazing.
oh, good. There's these modern things, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and everything. It's really great. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's been a little while in the organisation.
It has, yeah, but that's fine. That's not
finally
a problem. I said to you the other day that things get in the way and time goes on and all that sort of stuff.
Yes,
and
it does.
sometimes things work out and it eventually it has. So that's great. I really appreciate that. How's your week been? How's it been? What you've been up to?
I've been helping my partner. I've been doing a bit of plasterboarding. It's always fun, isn't it? Learning new skills, learning how drills work. Drills are very
Yeah,
complicated,
sure.
aren't they? Now I can go forward and backwards, but I haven't worked out the ratcheting, and they have different, and those ones that are impact drivers. Ooh, yeah.
Yes. So what have you been fixing up?
They want to fight every time you pick one up.
I know, yeah. I've been working outside, painting window frames and things, and it's just on that limit of being too cold to do it. Just this week has just turned, and it's like I'm really skating on thin ice with this time now. Tell you what.
Anyway, how's your week been? I suppose you just said that you've been outside and then you decided to come in. Too cold.
Yeah, well, yes, absolutely, yeah. At the moment, I'm sitting in a little cupboard. That's what I normally do. So if it goes all echoey.
Is it like what used to be the airing cupboard, and then you've got a combi boiler? And
it's not far off. There's hanging clothes in there at the moment, so to try and dampen down the noise and everything. It's just I'm just in amongst the clothes.
I think I've lost you, Stuart.
I'll tell you what I'll do, as I'll move somewhere else,
This is fun, don't go.
I know. I don't know what's going on. It's usually so good. Right, hang on a sec. If you can bear with me, if you can hear me, then just bear with me a sec. I'm just going to go and move, so maybe that might help. So just bear with.
Does that mean I'm dragging you out of your cupboard?
I'm hoping the dog's been put away. What about this one? How's that connection? Is that better? That's awesome. I think we've done it.
Because I'm also up in the attic, mention one of those booster things, but
yes. I mean, they're not 100% reliable, are they? But do you know, I might even end up downstairs.
Both of us would be like moving around, walking around on the familiar chat. It's very disorientating. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to. Okay, so actually, so am I as we speak.
Yeah.
The dog.
Yeah.
The dog's there. That's good. Right. Okay, I'm in my sitting room now. How's that? I couldn't be any closer to the router if I tried.
Okay, now I'm going down to the downstairs. This is fine because no one's home at the moment. If people start arriving, that
likewise.
Might be catastrophic. Fine, right. Let's squeeze in some chat, quick.
Okay, quick.
Right next to the booster.
So my end might be a bit echoey because I'm in the main sitting room now. So,
Me too.
But
Me
that's fine.
We both hijacked our sitting rooms while no one's around.
That's it. Yeah, quick, book people in, quick. Yeah. So your book, A Feeling for Rock, has been out for sort of 18 months or so now. So how was it received in the first place, and how has it changed you, if at all?
It's It's been really, really well received. I mean, I've had such lovely comments from like reviewers and people. People still track me down. They must really try. Every few weeks, I get a message from someone being like, just like super nice about the book and telling me a story or just thanking me for writing it. And I'm very touched by that because that's a lot of effort. And I don't know how many times I've bothered to look up actual authors and written to them. And I've been just amazed and really touched by that. So it's had an amazing reception. Obviously won some prizes, which is also amazing. And
Yes, at Banff, didn't it? Yeah, that was a
yeah,
particularly nice one. You're up
yeah,
against
yeah,
some tough competition there.
yeah. I mean, just phenomenal. And then
Mick Conifray and Elizabeth Raval and people like that, you know. Some big names.
I mean, I could never have dreamt that. It's a self-published book that kind of
Yeah.
wrote in my van. To get that sort of reception, and it's gobsmacking. So that's been gobsmacking. How
It's
has
been
changed?
quite heartwarming.
Yeah, has been quite interesting. I think I went into a slight sort of shock zone for a while because what I wrote about was quite kind of private in a way. It felt like a private dynamic I had with the what, which I then made public, and then it made me really self-conscious in a way. I mean, like I'd sort of, I don't know, shone the light on something that was very quiet.
It's quite an intimate thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Everybody feels
and
different when they
that's
touch things and experience things, particularly in climbing anyway. I mean,
yeah.
people think that everybody does the same thing. Yeah, you climb up a wall, but it's different for everybody, and the weather's different and the atmosphere is different, but
Yeah.
the rock is always there, permanent.
And like you say, that dynamic's really interesting because I thought
Mm.
afterwards, because all the chapters are different emotions, and I've given a couple of talks, and I'm a bit like, look, this is mine. I just wrote a bunch of stuff and chucked them together, but you'll have your own.
Yeah,
I didn't have a chapter called ambition.
yeah.
Everyone is different, and I guess I was interested in if that inspired people to look at what they were getting in quite subtle ways or quite private ways or personal ways.
So maybe that's what everybody actually needed, was this book to be written, so they can
This is
actually
flattering me now.
explore, so they can explore how they actually
Yeah.
feel about stuff.
You get people showing you their vulnerability. That's the basic thing of intimacy, isn't it?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
you get that on rock. You get that straight away. Most people, and I love one of the many things I love about climbing. It's such a
Yeah.
great sport, and sport isn't even the word, is it? Lifestyle
I-
companion.
Is it a sport? I don't really know if
It
it's a
doesn't need to
sport or
be.
not.
Honestly, it
It's a bit
doesn't
like
even need
darts
to
or
be.
snooker. Is it a sport or is it not? Not
Oh
really.
man, did you even know? You might even know that I'm a massive snooker fan as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that, but okay. I did used to watch it when it was on TV. So
I'm just waiting for this call to be over, frankly, so I could get the telly back on for the snooker. It's like British Open or something.
But you're the one of the particular chapter in the book about tenderness. That's I'm just looking at it now. About the link between the two people and
Oh yeah,
that feeling that you have on the rope, and
yeah.
it's an amazing. That's my favourite chapter in the whole book.
I'm
I really, really like that one.
I'm really glad you picked that one out. I really like that too. And I've
Okay.
got some direct messages from people about that chapter.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it as a piece of writing. Did you say something nice? Can you say it again?
Of course. I mean, it could be a standalone piece,
Yes.
just on a,
Well,
without having the
it's
rest of the context from the book.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them came out as articles, standalone articles, for the
Okay.
years preceding. So yeah, they kind of all are. And you can dip into it, can't you? You can open the book at any point.
Generally, whenever I'm reading, I'm always either falling asleep or I'm in bed or something. That's the only time I'm
Yeah.
kind of in the slow readers club. I don't read very quickly.
I'm like that too, and I like it. The language has to be good, otherwise I get bored.
I mean, whenever I'm reading, generally I only read mountaineering books and things, as you may or may not know.
Weirdly, yes, I can. Yeah.
But I really kind of immerse myself in the book that I'm reading. I almost act it out, which is
Yeah.
maybe why I read so slow.
Yes.
I don't know, but I mean, I can probably get through 4 or 5 pages a night if I'm lucky, a chapter if at best.
Yeah.
But,
Nice
but
though, isn't it? Because then you're more of an experiencer than a consumer, which is
definitely.
perfect.
So well done for winning the Mountain Literature Award at Banff. That's. Did you get nominated for that, or is it something that you have to submit yourself?
I had to send some books off, but it's quite reasonable as a process. You just post off some books, which and fill
Yeah.
in a short form. So it's not
Okay.
arduous actually applying for that. So I did that, which is good.
It's good that you did. Yes.
Yeah, and because I had no backing and I didn't know what I was putting in, it was a good idea or a bad idea, or had to be a really good idea.
When you were younger, how did you get into climbing? What was your first kind of experience and foray into climbing?
But the first real bit of climbing, I wasn't even younger. I
Okay.
was like 28 or 20.
Okay.
I think I might have been 30. I was really
Okay.
old,
Okay.
because I was scared of heights.
Okay.
And
Mind you, everyone is, aren't they?
yeah,
Really?
that is what I started dating a guy. I'm scared of heights, and he looked at me like I was
Yeah.
mad and was like, "Everyone is, just
Yeah,
like
of
you
course
said.
they are. Yeah, it's just a natural thing, isn't it?
It's reasonable." Yeah, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Well, everyone is, so that shouldn't stop you." No one
Okay.
had just pointed that out in such an obvious way. Maybe I was assertive. Maybe I was too assertive when I went, "No, I'm scared of heights," and they just left it as that. Anyway, this boyfriend was having none of it, and we went climbing, and I was incredibly frightened. Experience emotions in a very strong way, and I was unbelievably frightened to my core. I remember going up a cliff and just having this little mantra and forcing myself into tunnel vision and being like, it's just a little wall at the bottom of my garden. And I'm not quite sure how I got quite rapidly suddenly from there into being just blown away by it. I got so absorbed by
Okay.
the physicality, by the puzzle, by the landscapes, I think
Okay.
the problem solving is one that got. I couldn't believe that things could be so various and
Yeah.
so I don't know, so exciting. Like the engagement with it to work out with the rock and the body, these different moves and then you try things, all these different. I just found it amazing. It just opened up something in my spirit. It
Yeah.
completely took me by storm.
Another thing that I've got written down is that your is it your publishing company, the Dob Dob Dob?
When you
Is it
say
your own,
my
not a
publishing
publishing, not a
company,
publishing company,
that's
but
me.
is it a kind of all-encompassing thing with like a blog and articles, and is it just, and the book is just part of that?
Yeah, it is, yeah, because Dub 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 came first because I'm quite disparate. And I'd written articles and then got involved in some films and then there was a play or two. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
what is all this? How do I
Okay.
even, like, what? Where does this go? And then fortunately, a friend of mine, a lovely friend called Mackenzie, who's ace, was like, just put them
Okay.
under an umbrella website. And then another lovely friend, Steve Winslow, helped put them into this sort of simple website. So there is sort of a blog. Like last year, I kind of forced is quite strong. I've made myself, which is kind of the same as forced, and do the promotion and publicity for no one else. There's only me.
So
So
so were you comfortable about doing that, or was that just
no, I
completely?
hated it. No. So I had to. I had to. Well, I chose to.
If you wanted it to work, then you had to do it. Yes. Yes.
There's no one else. So, I wrote to all the people to do reviews and sent the books off to sort of a couple of competitions, set up social media, and I did that and I made myself do it for a year. And, it half was amazing. Well, quite an uncomfortable combination of being utterly, unspeakably amazing, like the Banff Prize, but
Yeah.
also, I don't know, very depleting and very uncomfortable with self-promotion. It felt like self-promotion, even though I tried to put the book first. So, my
Okay.
Instagram is called A Feeling for Rock, not me. But even so, I don't know, experience quite strong feelings of shame is quite strong, but, kind of like hey, review the book, my book, or hey, I just did this, and I'm dying inside a little bit because it's not what I enjoy. I just like going to sea cliffs with my mates.
Yeah.
And
Is
climbing
it
something
sea cliffs
quietly.
predominantly that you like?
Yeah,
Or
I
is there
love a
any other?
sea cliff where no one else is, just you and the rock and the sea, and you close everything else out. So going into all the promotion, I found slightly harrowing, and I said I'd do it for 2021, which I did. I'm taking a real backseat and letting the dust settle. I'm now doing the odd thing. So now I'm speaking to you, which is a pleasure, and I
Oh,
appreciate
thank you.
because you've kept in touch with me, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's nice. You know, I'm not doing all the hey cold calling, which is not nice. You know, you contacted
Yeah,
me, and
sure.
that was really, I appreciated that. And so I'm doing the odd thing, but I want to get back to climbing and being
Yeah.
creative in a sort of non end gaming way.
What did you have any sort of inspiration for writing this book? Or is there any literature that you'd read before that thought, I know I can do this?
So you dropped out a bit in the middle there. Did I have any?
Any inspiration from any other mountaineering books or anything like that, really, that helped you write this book?
I tell you what my inspiration was, and it's quite unusual, possibly, in that I don't read much mountain literature. I absolutely adored The Living Mountain. That is what it's called, isn't it? I've suddenly gone a blank. You know, but because it's poetry and it's a celebration of nature, it's chronological. And I don't have much tolerance for sort of chronological. You know, then you get Ed Drummond, for example. So I do White Horses because he's a poet, and he doesn't. There's only a very select number of books that I've read that I could get past the first, few pages because I'm just like
Yes.
interested. Because what I am very interested in is literature. I really massive fondness for kind of like post-colonial something, just
Okay.
really, really things that I think of as really good books. So in terms of my format, slightly like I got vindicated in hindsight in that I'd had it in my mind to do this book for years. Then when I decided, basically I knew I had all these different things from, a weaving that I did in 2007 to articles that I'd written to a bunch of cartoons that I'd done. And I knew they were scattered around the house just before coronavirus. I just thought, right, now I just finished a master's and didn't know what to do. And I was like, come on, I better do this now. I pulled it all together from the things I'd already had. And it was already like water length.
Yes.
It was already there. And it was already in
Yeah.
that format.
Yeah.
That scrapbook format was giving me confidence when I was bringing it out. There's an amazing called Citizen by Claudia Rankin, which if you haven't read it, if anyone hasn't read it, I've read it and then I've reread it, which is unusual, and then and every time I dip into it again, I'm astonished by how absolutely brilliant it is. How this fitted with me, is that it is a combination of poetry, academic sort of essays, pictures of artworks, and vignettes.
Okay.
And her use of vignettes, I copied in this book to just display a moment of time. Like Older Woman at the Base of the Crag is one of them. Clearing the wall, things like. So those vignettes I got from Claudia Rankin, and it's an absolutely genius book. Embodied, lived African American experience, and it's brilliant.
Something completely different, which I've just put my eyes on the book,
Yeah.
and it reminds me of a question that one of my children said: "Whose hand is on the front of the book, and what are they doing?" I don't know why. I just saw it and
Do you
thought,
want the answer to
"Oh yeah,
that?
I must." Yes, please. They'd love to know. Yes.
Well, this was quite funny. I remember being down Avon Gorge, my local crag, and I took that with my right hand of my
Okay.
left hand. And I can't describe to you because it sounds like it'd be easy, but holding a phone, touching the screen to get into focus, and then taking a picture holding an iPhone, it was
It's,
incredibly
oh,
difficult. You had to be
I
very
bet it was.
dexterous. really awkward.
I'm sure if some 20-year-old would be able to do it straight away without even thinking,
Yes, so true.
But
Probably a 6-year-old. I found it very, very awkward.
so it's your hand. So
But
you
that's it.
just
I was,
zoomed in and
so I was trying to do this Zoom, two
oh
fingers.
my goodness.
Oh yeah, it was really, really awkward. I probably should have had a tripod. There's so many things in life I should have had, but it worked out.
You don't generally carry a tripod with you when you're climbing. Not really, no.
What I liked is partly I was very pleased with it as a cover because I wanted it to look like one of those canyons in Utah. So
Yes.
I hope people I know have mistaken it for that, which has made me extremely happy. But also I'm a big fan of the unprettiness. There's so much in terms of female prettiness and all that. I'm not into that. I'm into living and getting worn out. Judged or judge yourself. Not judged is a terrible word, well, but to fight that sort of promotion of prettiness, because prettiness has nothing to do with enjoyment or passion or being engaged with stuff. And if I don't have really, you've got to be involved, and that when you're trying really hard and you're not looking pretty, I was important to me somehow to fight that, or to just be like, that doesn't matter, that's not the priority.
And moving on from odd questions, and I've got one more odd question, and then it's not odd.
I hope we don't have ordinary questions after this.
It's more of an observation, as I've seen you a few times. You were interviewed by Natalie Berry at Kendal, and I think it was on your website, I think, the Dob one. There was a couple of videos on there, and you'd just done a climb at the Wye Valley, I think, and you were sitting on top of this pinnacle.
Yes.
And both of those times, you didn't have any shoes on. You just had socks. I don't know why I noticed that.
Oh, that is a very, very pertinent. Like, it drives my boyfriend mad because I will take my shoes off at any opportunity. We drive for like 3 minutes. I get in the car, then I'll unlace them, and then I have my feet up on the dashboard. And then 3 minutes later, we arrive where we're going. And then I put my shoes back on. He's just like, oh my.
But I've only seen it twice, and I thought, let's have a. Oh no, actually, it's quite true.
Yeah.
Another one with your socks.
What I noticed in the Natalie Berry interview, where I look like an absolute child, is that I can't sit still, and I'm sitting on my.
I saw that. Yes, you're rocking on your chair and moving your legs, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
That's what I'm like.
It was so funny. It was brilliant. You must have really enjoyed that.
And also on the pinnacle, I'd like to put a plug in as well, because that was my friend Sandro Gromen-Hayes made that.
Yes. I've forgotten what his name is. I'm sorry, but yes, I have seen it.
Brilliant, and he goes around and he's done all sorts of interviews. If you look at his website,
okay, I will. Yeah,
interviews with all sorts of randomers that he finds curious and interesting.
Yeah,
all sorts of stuff, including Everest and stuff like that.
Yeah, so no more odd questions now, no more weird ones. It's just normal.
Don't ask the dull ones.
Boring dull ones. That's it. So what's next for you? Is there any plans to do another book, or are you going to continue submitting stuff to UKC and travelling around, holidays, talking about Kalymnos?
There's lots of. I'm away quite a lot this winter, but I'm going to see family. I haven't seen my brother for 3.5 years because of COVID.
Okay.
I haven't seen my daughter because she's been in Australia.
Okay.
So I've got visiting coming up. So yes, I am travelling, but I do hope to get to a Valleys. So there are, even when I'm kind of going, just visiting family, there's usually some kind of like really blatant subtext, a plot involving a major crag. So yeah, there is that. Yes, I will keep writing. Like I say, I've kind of just like stepped away for a little bit, but writing, and there are a few things sort of bubbling away. So yeah.
So on the Natalie Berry interview, you said that you just bought a plot of land on Skye.
So yes.
So what are your plans for that?
Well, we don't know now. Yeah, me and my partner, we bought this plot on Skye,
Yeah.
several months in the spring, which happened to be their wettest month, your wettest year ever.
Brilliant.
We were doing the
Perfect. Yeah.
groundworks. Oh, and it was pretty harsh, particularly as that was the start of the heat wave down south. And I'm not
Okay.
like every day. I know Scotland's meant to be wet, but even the locals were like, we've never known it this wet. And we were
Okay.
doing groundworks in 30-mile-an-hour winds and relentless rain. And the best thing about it was that I had an all-in-one plastic suit. You just don't get wet.
So it doesn't matter, yeah.
No,
So maybe
brilliant.
you start a new fashion in climbing or alpinism or mountaineering or something.
All-in-one plastic suit.
That's it, yeah.
Anyway, we did really well. We did a
Yeah.
lot of work on the block, but I think it was pretty harsh. So now we're having a little bit of a breather on
A
that.
bit of a breather. Travelling around a bit.
Yeah, just have a think about that. But I did enjoy doing physical craft. Like, I know I can look at a ton of sand and move it. I like that. Or, those, everything comes in 25-kilogram bags. They're gigantic. That's like half body weight. And I'm like, I can pick them up in a very specialized way. If I kneel, roll it on my lap, and then use my.
That's it, yeah, yeah. But it's doing that sort of physical labour. It gives you time to kind of switch off when nothing else. There's so much going on in your head in general. When you're doing that, I mean, for instance, like when I'm doing my painting and decorating, I do manage. Obviously, I do listen to climbing podcasts pretty much every single day. There's so many out there; it's ridiculous.
You're so great.
There are so many, and I just switch off and have my own little isolated world.
Yes,
and I'm very, very fortunate that I can do that most days.
Yeah, it is true, isn't it? I think I'm very clear that I would much rather be a bricklayer than anything to do with childcare, because you can have your own thoughts. It's so much. It suits me so much better. And I know exactly what you mean. That's it. So I've enjoyed that. Feeling, thinking-y, airy, watery sort of person. I've always sort of thought I'd with the material world. Like it was a bit, I thought I was too waffy to impact. Whereas, once you've built the road, kind of like put a fence over you, stand back and go, oh, I made that. I remember for several years I was a lawyer, and I remember walking my sort of daughter, who was then sort of 6 or 7 at that time, and I took her to the office, and there's nothing to see. Then you open these, there's nothing you can convey to anyone, let alone a 6-year-old child, what your job is or how interesting or whatever. It did nothing. And I just stood there and she stood there. And the only thing she said was, Mum, why is everyone else in a suit and you're in jeans?
Because you don't really fit there. That's the thing. That's it.
Oh, I literally, I'm like, oh. It didn't last very.
Obviously, you've travelled quite a bit with climbing and things like that. Where's your favourite place to be?
Not very good at staying in one place. Can I answer my van? Because that's cheating.
No, that's not cheating. That's a great safe.
I'm happy in my van because I like going places and then being places. Yeah. So my van is my happy place. Pembroke has to be highly, because Pembroke has been the place that I've just gone to as a default, and I just absolutely love the views, the beaches, the silence, just everything about it. So I love Pembroke. I also do, even though I've only been there for a few weeks at a time, I have an abiding passion for the Southwest in the States.
Okay.
I've been a couple of trips there and it's blown me away. Being up in the desert towers in Utah, and wow. Where's your favourite place?
This was mid-90s now. I travelled around Australia, and that was actually probably one of my best years of my life. Yeah.
I think whereabouts? I was in the mid-90s.
Where was I? 96? 96, 97, I was in Australia.
I think I was early 90s, and I ended up in this like horse ranch in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, being a Jillaroo or something.
What an amazing place, though. So yes, I can see why you had such a good time there. It's an easy place and amazing. Yeah. Well, that's where I'm going again.
Whereabouts are you going?
Be the first time I've been back.
If you don't mind me asking.
Talking about going over to Perth, And
Okay.
then I've got someone I'd like to see. In fact, one of the quotes at the beginning of the book, which I completely love,
Yeah.
by an academic called Penelope Rossiter, is amazing about this rude intermingling of the gear and the location and the literature and the rock and the flesh. Oh,
Yeah.
I completely love it. And I wrote to her saying, please, can I use your quote? And I love it. And then we've been emailing each other, and I might possibly, if time allows, go and visit her over in the Blue Mountains, which would be like I can meet one of my heroes. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be really nice. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, because I was writing this master's at the time, and I was like, obviously I'm going to write my master's on climbing. And I read her academic paper, which was
Yeah.
so much more brilliant than anything I'd had in my own mind, which I just completely changed topic. I was like, she said everything I want to say and more. It's amazing.
Is it right that you have bits of paper everywhere?
You dropped out a bit, but do I have little scraps of paper with like lines on?
Yeah, yeah.
I've got scraps of paper. I use my
I was
phone.
amazed when I heard that you do that. It
Oh
was
yeah.
such a great idea. Nobody does that anymore. Everyone uses their phones and everything. And I'll just put it in my notes. It just doesn't have the same
I do that too.
thing.
I do that too.
That as well.
Yeah, I do that in my. It depends what's there. So all my rucksacks, paper and pens in.
Yeah.
Half of my coats, all my little bags. I've got a little sort of one of those moleskin diary. But if I have an idea or a line will come into my head, I'll write it down there and there, or on anything. Catch them. They're like butterflies. Whether it's painting or running or whatever, when you're in movement and you can just let your mind go, that's when things pop in. And so quite a lot of stuff just slots into place when I'm running, and I go running. But then I traditionally, anyway, I haven't carried a phone or paper when I run. I just run. And then when you have lots of thoughts, so I'm running, trying to hold the thoughts, and I'm creating acronyms, and I'm creating images to try and remember the lines, they come one after the other. And then when I come in the door, I have to not speak to anyone and just like, like everyone,
don't distract me.
Write it down.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great idea. I think a lot more things would get done if people remembered what they thought. I know it'd be a great idea. And nobody ever writes it down.
Yeah, I got it.
And then it's lost, and as you say, it's like a butterfly. It's lost and it's gone, and it's moved on, and then you don't remember. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to ask you. To be honest,
you've done really well, because I'm sat in the sitting room and no one's come in, which is
likewise. There's nobody in, and people are due to come back from sports, and they haven't yet. So I think they're just staying away.
Yeah. Whether you wanted me to read a bit of any excerpts or any poems or anything.
Oh, that would be absolutely incredible. And you know, I don't normally ask people to do that because I don't want to offend them or presume that they want to do that.
Oh, I'm sure everyone would want to do that if you ask them.
But yeah, that'd be absolutely amazing.
Extraordinary. You want me to read from my own book? I'm leaving.
It might drop out and I'll get half the book or something.
Oh, yes. That actually might happen. You'll be like, SJ, can you read that third line again?
I don't know which one you'd like to. It's up to you. That's you really caught me off guard there.
So what was thinking? Now I'm looking at that B-Lane chapter, because you said that was your best one. So I'm thinking
from like the second.
Yeah,
there's thinking about the ropes.
Yeah,
that's not too long, and it won't take up much of your time.
Okay, so this is from B-Lane as an act of love. Something magical happens. Each rope becomes a nerve, a single cell stretched between the two of you. Feel it. Your top hand resting on the nylon, fingertips alert, listening through your attentive haptic skin. This is especially obvious when your leader is out of sight, has traversed a rib, stepped round an arête, climbed far above you and disappeared. Do you fish? Perhaps it's like this, handling the line, knowing weed from sand, from pollock, from bass, knowing what is going on.
That's amazing. I've read along with you.
I thought you might. I thought you might. You're both open on exactly the same page.
Because when you were, I know it's weird, isn't it? Yeah, that link there. The rope. Yeah.
Just like
when you read that out, I actually read it similar to you.
At that pace.
At that, hey, I as I said before, I kind of act it out,
Yeah.
and it kind of draws me in a lot more
I
to
think
what
I
I'm
do.
actually reading.
I think I do. I'm a slow reader. I don't skim read. I do. I
No, I can't do that. My wife reads books and books and books. I don't know, one a day almost. She's so quick, and the house is
yeah,
full of
I'm
books.
with you on that.
One little shelf is mine, and everything else is all hers.
Yeah.
Hence the name of the show, Climbing on the Bookshelf, because I've only got one little
What?
shelf. That's it.
That's so cute. And do you want another one? Do you want a poem?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. Yeah.
Just because I've opened at random on
Okay, go on. Yeah.
the comedy trickster chapter, and there's one called Buzzer, and the first line is "The Rock asks
What
questions,"
what
and you
page
can
is it
ask
on?
me questions all night. So
What page is it on? Because I want to read it along with you in my head.
okay, page 169, which I've never
169.
thought of. That's a slight kind of funny number too.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah, got it. Trickster. Yeah.
the Rock asks questions, tests you, makes practical jokes, invites your rejoinder, then giggles when you fluster. A game show host, some kind of quiz master with a wicked sense of humour. You move, gripped, hyper-conscious of the buzzer. You sinew and muscle to fashion your answer with some attempt at wit.
Again,
Okay,
I read along with you. The same.
I really get that. I have a big thing about First People's Native American thing about the trickster in nature, and
Yeah.
I so feel that with the Rock. I really feel that it's not as well. Sometimes it's solemn. It does a bit of everything, but that trickster element I love in
Yeah.
climbing. I
Yeah.
just think there's such a sense of humour, particularly in trad, where it's
Yes.
so ridiculous a lot of the time, and I think that comedy is shared. I get that feeling from the Rock. I get a lightness from it. I get a kind of like the
Yeah.
teasing quality that's very, what is it? Yeah, that game show host. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Oh, what is this? How do I get up this?
Okay. So where would you prefer people to buy the book from, or where can we get the book from?
So there's a link to my website on Instagram, but at the moment I'm hardly posting anything on Instagram because, as said, I'm just taking a bit of a backseat.
Taking a break. Yeah.
But my website is where the book's sold.
Yeah. Sure.
Retailers, because places like Outside in Hathersage and Dick's Climbing in Bristol, they're stocking it.
Yeah. Sure.
Because they,
Yeah.
your good, I don't know what they call it, independent climbing shop will
Yeah.
stock it. Because if you could get people going to the shops, I'm happy. Real shops, that would be good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but in the climbing world of literature, you're huge and it's amazing. It's great.
In a small pond, I might have been heard of, which is so delightful. Well, that's it, isn't it? Because it is my community, and I never thought I'd have a community. When I was a kid, I'm imagining that I'd have something I'd call my community. It probably is the gift that keeps giving climbing. It's just been so brilliant in so many various ways. Well, it's been a real pleasure talking.
Well,
it really has.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to spend your time, your precious time, to come and speak to someone you don't even know.
It's great, isn't it? It's really great getting to know people I don't know.
All right. Thanks very much.
Take care then.
You. Bye. You too. Bye.